Hi guys, I'm Seth. Welcome back to Warthog Defense. In the Zaporizhzhia region, Ukrainian forces have made new gains near the city of Orikhiv. According to the Southern Defense Forces, several positions have been recaptured, signaling a quiet but determined push forward. While official details remain scarce, Ukrainian units are reportedly seeing success on this axis, chipping away at Russian defenses in one of the most fortified zones of the war.
Ukrainian forces are once again making gains in the south. According to the Southern Defense Forces, several positions near the city of Orikhiv in the Zaporizhzhia region have been recaptured. This area has been one of the most heavily fortified sections of the front, where Russian troops dug in deeply after last year's failed offensive. Spokesman Vladislav Voloshin confirmed the progress but noted that details remain limited, likely due to ongoing operations in the sector. Still, any movement in this region is significant. It shows that Ukrainian forces are slowly regaining momentum in key tactical areas, grinding down Russian defenses and preparing the ground for future advances. Every regained trench matters in this type of war, where artillery duels and drone reconnaissance dominate the battlefield. These small tactical victories may seem quiet, but together they build toward larger operational success. More than 3 years into the war in Ukraine, Russian army training is still often reported to be only cursory. Soldiers are usually given only a few days of training and a single outing to the shooting range. A Russian war blogger discusses why this is. The partisan Telegram channel comments, "Combat training? No, we haven't heard of it. The 4th year of the war. To put it mildly, there is no development or improvement in the combat training of troops heading to the front. Quite the opposite." Our cadets often ask, what is the reason? Let's look at some of them. In trained units, control is often lost. Unbelievable, but true. A unit that has undergone serious training with instructors who have combat experience is not always ready to carry out obviously suicidal and ineffective orders from incompetent commanders. People begin to think, ask questions, and not simply believe in the authority of shoulder straps. Problem: officers consider it beneath their dignity to conduct classes with soldiers. As a result, they do not prepare for classes, do not analyze and review the results of classes, do not work with personnel, and do not earn authority. It is far from always possible to find a competent instructor, and you don't want to trust your unit to someone, like in the Arab armies. Knowledge is authority. I know. I am needed. I am the boss. If everyone knows, then why would I be needed? Surprisingly, the issue of emergencies during training is still relevant. Soldiers break their legs, shoot where they shouldn't, and are crushed by equipment. They won't pat them on the head for that. The main condition for preventing emergencies is that soldiers must sit in the barracks, and the incompetence of the commander, it is immediately revealed during training, hence the result. Footage of the Australian M1A1 tanks being shipped to Ukraine. The first tranche of Australian tanks has been handed over to the Ukrainian army to help its defense against Russia's invasion. Australia had previously pledged to give Ukraine 49 Abrams tanks worth $245 last October. The Defense Minister Richard Marles said the tanks would aid Ukrainian firepower and complement other military equipment donated by allies to repel Russia's invasion. Australia remains steadfast in our support for Ukraine and seeing a just and lasting peace, Marles said. A majority of the tanks have been delivered, and a final tranche will arrive in the coming months, but actual numbers have not been released. Russian missile and drone strikes in Ukraine are targeting civilians in record numbers, according to the United Nations Human Rights Office. June marked the deadliest month for civilians in more than 3 years, it said. Australia will also deploy a Wedgetail aircraft to Europe in August to protect the corridors to Ukraine through which aid is delivered. Australia stands shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine, said the Defence Industry Minister, Pat Conroy. At the leading international Landeuro conference on European land forces held in Wiesbaden, Germany, Robert Madyar-Brovdy, commander of the Unmanned Systems Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, said, "I lead 12 units of drone pilots. 95% of them were civilians before the war began. They were businessmen, athletes, lawyers, singers, anyone you can imagine, but not military. Altogether, we make up 2% of Ukraine's entire army. Yet we destroy 1 in every 3 enemy personnel and 1 in every 3 enemy targets. Putin, who promised to take us in 3 days, has, in 3.5 years, only taught us how to defend our homeland, our children, and our land."
Jean-Pierre Magyar, I wish you good health. In the Ukrainian army, they call me Magyar. I am a field commander of combat drone pilots of the armed forces of Ukraine. Putin's propaganda says I am considered one of the most wanted enemies of Russia. Therefore, I do not promise you a second meeting, but I will say absolutely black and white things. Today, I unite 12 units of pilots. 95% of them were civilians before the war began.
Yeah, there's businessmen, athletes, lawyers, singers, anyone, but not military people. It's 95%. Our total number makes up 2% of the entire Ukrainian army. We destroy 1 out of 3 enemy personnel units and 1 out of every 3 enemy targets. Putin, who promised to capture us in 3 days, has taught us for 3.5 years to defend our homeland, our children, our land.
Orban being Europe's Trojan horse again. Hungary will not approve an EU budget crafted in Ukraine's interest, says Prime Minister Viktor Orban. "I will never agree to a budget that sends Hungarian money to Ukraine or one that ruins Hungarian farmers," Orban stated. Ukraine has brought back 11 children from Russian-occupied territories and Russia, with Qatar acting as mediator. Among them are 5 siblings who managed to contact their sister in Ukraine and asked for help to come home.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comments section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.